just about now. Okay, so welcome everyone. Today we're speaking with Nick Goldberg of Validus Marketing, and we're going to be talking all about ad campaigns, what makes a good one, how to run them, and then we're going to have Q&A at the end. So welcome, and I'm going to turn it over to Nick.
Awesome. Well, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me. Just a little background on us, guys. We have been in the PMU marketing space for about 5 years now. We've spent well over 7 figures just on permanent makeup ads alone. We've upped that a lot more even this year and during the whole COVID period with a lot of online marketing for like courses, trainings that were online when you couldn't see people during the COVID restrictions. And it's kind of become our like favorite space to work in. And I think it was 2.5 years ago, we decided to fire all of our clients that weren't PMU. We became a PMU specific marketing company only. And we kind of just went that route and we've been doing it ever since. So today I'm super excited. We are going to be going over not only what makes a good ad campaign, but we put together a super in-depth presentation of how we took a PMU artist from $0 in sales to 6 figures in sales in under 3 months. I think it was about like 9 weeks, something like that. So we're really, really excited to show you. I'm going to dive in and share my screen. Let me pull up the presentation mode. And as I do this, I'm going to try to be as energetic as possible during this, but I will say this is something that my mentor taught me. Whatever you put out into the world, you receive. So if you want people to show up for your business ready, if you want them to invest in you, you want them to be prepared, you should do the same for other people. So try to have your cameras on, try to be active when I'm asking anything in chat. I'm going to do some little pop quizzes and ask you guys to put numbers or something in the chat just to make sure you are listening, paying attention. We're not falling asleep on the other side of the camera. So I'm going to do my best here, but all right, so let's dive into this. How we took a PMU artist from $0 to $100,000 in 3 months using Facebook and Instagram advertising. So the very first thing we like to do with any permanent makeup artist, and this is something where I warn a lot of people, not everyone is ready for ads yet. It's very true, and a lot of kind of scammy, non-ethical marketers will just kind of try to take your money. That's not a good thing to do. You may not be ready for it. We're going to kind of dive into how we qualify this specific client. So everything I'm going to go through is going to be specific for the client that we got from 0 to 100K, because I want you to know exactly what we looked for. So number one, we always look for social proof. This is so vitally important for everything you do ad related. So social proof includes reviews, video testimonials from clients, a screenshot of happy client conversations. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but in studies that we've ran spending our own money, if you have 8 to 10 testimonials on your funnel or website, wherever you're sending people to like for your ad, you will get up to 70% higher conversion. So it's a massive, massive difference. I like to think of this as if you go to Amazon, you're probably not going to buy the item that has 0 reviews, but you probably would if it had 2,000 reviews of all 5 stars. Same concept. People want to know they can trust you. So make sure you have some sort of social proof, and she had a lot of it. Something I will note is we can't say this specific client's name. She's really big in the space. We have confidentiality agreements with all of our clients. Some of them will let us share their name, some of them won't. And this one asked us not to, so we can share the results, just not her name. So for authority, this is a little bit different. If you do have authority, it is massively helpful as well. It kind of just combines with social proof, but it is different. Authority is this specific client had been featured in magazines. They had articles published and written in very big publications, and they also had awards for their PMU services. Now, I want to specify, you don't need to be a massive PMU artist in order to have a wildly successful campaign. We've also launched brand new artists. This is a course we're going to go over for sales, but we've launched theirs when they had no testimonials. We got some test ones and then launched them, had a 5-figure launch as well. So you don't need to be this giant, huge, already successful person to launch a successful ad campaign. But if you do have some sort of feature publications, those are very, very helpful. If you don't have those, you can borrow authority from instructors or mentors. And this is something that's very underused in the space that a lot of you can do. Now, some people like to do this. Some don't even know what this means, but borrowing authority is using someone else's authority that taught you and using it to leverage for your clients. One of them is, we'll use like Shay Danielle for an example, right? You can, if you're brand new, you can say you were taught by a world-renowned PMU artist who has X amount of clients or X amount of reviews. So it's not you specifically, but you were taught by somebody with very high credibility, and that helps your credibility as well, because they're kind of relating you with their trust as well. Next up, we made sure there was product market fit. This is something I see that is kind of mistaken. Not every offer is good. Some people put out some very bad offers that are not attractive to the marketplace, and that's something we like to test and make sure is there. So a lot of times if someone's brand new, they're trying to launch a brand new course, they have a brand new service, we like to test it first to make sure it is going to actually work with ads, or we make sure that they've had clients come to that service already or bought that course already, just to make sure that it is wanted in the marketplace. But this is something we're going to dive into a little bit with price testing too. Now, this one can be controversial, and if you guys don't agree with anything I say, that's completely cool. You don't have to. I'm sharing what we think is the best thing to do. So you don't have to agree. Totally cool. I respect whatever you guys want to think. But what I like to do is when we have newer artists starting, you should do some price testing. So everybody wants to jump into this space and charge like $700 for combo brows or $800 for microblading, and it's like their first client. And you should know your worth. Absolutely. Always know what you're worth. Don't ever do stuff for free, but you do have to know you have to earn your place in the industry. You can't just come in commanding the same price as somebody who's worked with 2,000 people, slowly work their way up. You can't just jump into the same price point as them. It's going to be very difficult for you to scale your business if you are brand new. So what we like to do is start with price testing. We know how much it's worth. We work with hundreds of artists. We know the price points for normal stuff. So we normally like to start at a price that we know is pretty common in the industry for that price, and we'll slowly work our way up. Once we've had consistent sales, we'll increase that price slowly. That's the whole price testing concept. It kind of helps you figure out where the industry values your work versus you forcing your work onto the industry and telling them what you're going to charge, and nobody wants to pay that if your work doesn't match up to it. So it's a good way to kind of see where you stand inside of the industry. A lot of new artists charge way too much. We kind of already covered that. And then just know your value. You do have to earn your space in the industry. Don't ever work for free. You can do like discounts if you want to do family and friends to get some testimonials rolling, but that's going to cover the product market fit. So the next thing we did in this was we looked inside of their actual images, their videos, and there's a couple things I want to point out for you guys what makes a good image or video. So I want to start with the images. I'm trying to move my little box around here so I'm not like in the way of my own screen. So this was one of their images, and this is something that we look for a lot. A lot of people think you have to have like a professional photographer or videographer come in. You do not. We've had a photo that looks like it was shot on a potato do better than someone that actually paid for a videographer, and it outperforms it on ads. And it's just makes no sense whatsoever, but that's why my motto, I'm going to get tattooed on myself, is just test everything. Don't ever assume you know what's going to happen. Just test it, because data will always surprise you, I promise. But I'm going to go over what does make some better photos. So number one, you can see this is clearly not blurry, right? If you have any modern iPhone, or your friend has any modern iPhone, like iPhone 10 and up, they have phenomenal cameras that you can use, especially if you have the new iOS 15. It even has a feature where it blurs the background around someone. So it is phenomenal for taking photos, and you can do that all the time. Also, a little note here that a lot of people don't know, do not zoom in too far onto the face. Facebook has policies where if you're too zoomed in on something, it won't allow it to pass through ads, and it can get declined. And if you get too many of those, it will ban your ad account. So make sure you're not too zoomed in on something. Make sure you have a whole face in the frame. Make sure there's nothing on the background that's distracting either. You want the full attention to be drawn to the face, which is done very well in this photo. I'm going to see if this lets me play this video. So this was part of the special we ran for this ad campaign. Let's see if it plays. It does. So just a really quick 15-second video. You can see they're highlighting. There's a couple transitions where they're going over the client's work. And there's a reason we always prefer video. I will always tell everybody to do video, which I will get into later in this. But something really simple is you can have text inside the video. You can go over pricing in the videos. You can have just the video itself playing. Test all sorts of different formats, because there's no one fits all. This one did well for about 2 weeks, and then we had to switch it out with one that was completely different. So just to give you an idea, make sure you have music in the background, because it's really weird watching a video with absolutely no sound. It's just an awkward feeling. No one likes it. It's just kind of weird. Now, what I would recommend is putting subtitles if there's words in it. So if it's you speaking, put subtitles, because because there's a lot of statistics that show videos get a lot higher view percentage because some people are listening to videos in public and they can't play the sound. So if there's actual subtitles in the video, it helps people watch your videos a little bit more. That's a little snippet on here, but this is some of the photos and videos we used for this specific campaign. And next up, this is probably the most important one out of anything I'm going to tell you today. I need you guys to pay attention for this one. This is creating an irresistible offer. And what is an irresistible offer? I really like to use the example of Russell Brunson, who is the creators of ClickFunnels here. What an irresistible offer is it's a way to add value to your offer without like adding a ton of like freebies in there, or like just upping your price to try to beat your competitors. Making it more valuable at the same price and competing inside the industry can be super, super helpful. So the example he gives is they brought 2 girls on stage at this live event that they were actually doing. Both of them had babysitting businesses. They were like 15, already starting a business, super cool. But what they had different was Russell wanted them to compete and see which one could make the better business model. One of them, they had the same exact price. One of them said they were going to watch the kids. The other one said, not only will they watch your kids, but they'll make sure they're doing their homework. They'll also make sure they don't go past X amount of TV time, and they will help them study. So they made their offer more valuable without adding a bunch of like pricing in there. So that's what I kind of want you guys to think about, is how can you increase the value of your offers without making someone pay more? And you don't always have to just give away a ton of stuff for free, but your goal should be to add a couple things to make it more valuable. So when this client came to us, it was not originally irresistible. She launched this. She did get about 10,000 in sales, but then it just died off because she ran through her immediate circle of followers. And then after that, it was really tough to get sales. So we just went over this. So we decided to add more perceived value by adding kind of what people get from buying the course. What perceived value is it's something that they're already getting, but they don't really understand everything that's inside of your offer. So what I mean by that is, if you look at this top one, right? 6 modules going over everything you'll need to succeed while learning Ombre Browse. This was already in the offer. It never was outside of the course, but by adding it in a stacked sort of list like this, you're adding to perceived value. It makes it seem like it's way more valuable because they get more education on what's being taught inside their program. Now, on top of that, we added a couple new features to the course to make it even more valuable and irresistible. So you can see we did a little bit more of that same exact perceived value here. So step-by-step videos teaching you the ins and outs, that already came with it. This was perceived value as well. You guys don't have to do this. It is a strategy. You guys can do something like if you're doing a fake discount, or if you want to do a real discount, one-time offer, all sorts of stuff you can do here. Normally $3.99, we were doing a launch discount at $1.99. Since then, it's actually stayed at $1.99. It's never gone back up. We'll do sales where it comes lower, but you can do some sort of discount specifically just for the sale. You have 6 months access to a highly detailed, in-depth stuff. This was another thing we added in that made it more valuable to purchase now versus at a later date, is you get a discount code to purchase materials, because you're eventually going to need to get more materials. If you want to get a discount code when you're on your sale, they're going to come back to you, use that discount code. It's creating future revenue. We had live models, so you get a more realistic training experience, support from myself with any questions while going through the course, certificate after completing the entire course. So we added a few things in here that you would have gotten already, but by adding it in an educational standpoint and you're kind of listing out the value of your course, you will get a lot more attention to the course. And when we did this, sales increased dramatically. We went from 1 to 2 sales a day to 6 to 7. And it's a massive increase just by showing the offer of what they get inside of the actual course. Now, this is more perceived value down here. You can kind of price things at what you think they actually are worth to you. This is what kind of knowing your worth comes into, and you can do what's called a perceived value here. Now, I have ran into people that are not comfortable doing this style where it's like, oh, our price was this, now we're discounting to this. And that's not something you guys have to do. But I do want you to know, if you go to Fortune 500 companies, the biggest companies in the entire world, an example that I know always does this is a company like Mattress Firm. They do tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue a year. If you go to their website right now, if you went to mattressfirm.com, I guarantee you they have some sort of like sale going on until this date, blah, blah, blah. It's on every company's website. So you guys can use this. And if you want to make it more authentic, you can use an OTO, which stands for one-time offer, which I will go over pretty soon. So this was the actual copy we used to generate 6 figures. We used a lot of other copies as well, but I wanted to go through this and actually show you guys what our ads said to create those sales. So I'm going to show you the creatives as well as the copy, but I'm going to just pause right here. I'll talk a little bit about the creative so you guys have a chance to read through this. Now, just so you know, you don't use just one copy and let it run forever, right? You have to change it. You have to know how to read your metrics to understand what needs to be changed when. But this is going to be incredibly helpful for you guys because you can see what actually created this amount of sales in a short time. Now, while you guys do take a look at that, I'm going to also play this creative because this was another one we used during this period. So you can see it's a little bit different. There's less text. It's a smaller border. So now it's more of the video actually playing. We use a different model, a couple different transitions, still the same time frame. We stuck with that 14-second one. It's a really solid time frame because you can actually retarget people based on how engaged they were through your video in later times. It usually takes 3 to 4 weeks to build up retargeting audiences like that. But the reason we always prefer videos is you can retarget someone if they watched 25, 50, 75, 95, or 100% of your video. You can actually retarget them specifically with ads that only hit that audience if you do it correctly. And it is insanely powerful. Your price per purchase or lead will drop normally by half. So you get way better results by doing this type of strategy. It's the second time I did that. There we go. All right. This was asked, and we have a paid group where we have students, we teach advertising, and this was just asked in it. Super good timing, and I'm really glad I get to go over this. They asked us, ads tend to get more expensive during holidays, which is 100% true. It's a fact. Your what's called CPM, which is the cost it takes you to get in front of 1,000 people, is going to go up because a lot of big companies are going to be spending tens of thousands of dollars a day to get in front of their audience. So I got asked, should we even run them since it's going to be more expensive? And the answer is yes. During this period, Black Friday and Cyber Monday came up. This was almost exactly a year ago right now. We had $13,000 in 1 week, and we barely spent over 4 figures in that 1 week to create this. So it is massively important to utilize sales. People need to understand you have buyer behaviors. And what a buyer behavior is, a good example of it is every client we have normally has a slight dip on the weekends for the amount of leads they get or the amount of purchases they get. And it's because your buyer behavior is different. During the week, people are in a different mindset than they are in the weekend. On the weekend, all they want to do is chill, relax. And the week, all they're doing is working for the most part. And that's kind of the majority of the world. And you have to understand in different stages of people's lives, wherever they're doing, they have different behaviors. Same goes for holidays. Even though it's going to be more expensive to spend on your ads, people are literally expecting to buy stuff on holidays. And you could not take a bigger advantage of that. There's not another time in the world where someone's like, I am ready to buy stuff, and then you not take advantage of that and run ads. So it may be a little bit more expensive, but I promise your conversions will be so much higher. You will get so much more leads and sales during these periods. So this was the launch of the week leading up to Black Friday and Cyber Monday. It produced almost 40% of our entire monthly sales in a 7-day period. So this was a massive, massive week. Things you can do to add more money during the sales is what I said here. So you have your OTOs, your bump products, your scarcity and urgency. So OTOs are one-time offers. For those of you that don't want to like scam your audience, what you can do is make an actual one-time offer. And what you can do is you have your course or service at full price, but they also only this one time, if they schedule today or if they buy right now, you'll also include something else into the service or their purchase. So one thing we did with her is we had her at course, her own brow course. But if they purchased today, they also got a social media starter pack included in their purchase. So that way we weren't like trying to scam anybody. We weren't like trying to like make false scarcity, but they got extra value by buying right now. You need to give your viewers, your readers, everybody a reason to buy now instead of at a later date. That's how you start increasing your sales or getting more leads. Another way you can do this is scarcity. So this is more about quantity and urgency is more about time frames. So scarcity, you could in your ad copy say something like, we are only giving 20 people this discount. After 20, it's gone. Like you will not get it at this price again. That's scarcity because it's only so many available. Urgency is more about time frame. So for this day and today only, we are going to be providing it for this price, or like doing a discount. That's urgency. So you can use any of these to increase your sales during periods of holidays, or just during your normal ads as well. So now we're going to go into kind of the strategy we use. I'm going to try to get through this kind of quick. So there are a lot of different strategies you can use for ads. I'm going to go over some of them. But for this client specifically, her price was $199 on the dot. So we use the direct approach method. So what the direct approach method is they have an ad. They click on the ad, they go to a funnel or a sales page, not your website. I want to specify this, and I'll explain why. Your funnel or your landing page. And then from there, they automatically buy and they're enrolled through automation. So what's nice about this type of strategy is the business owner is not involved. During this whole 3 months, she did not lift a finger, and the ad campaign itself, because of the strategy, made 6 figures. And it's because of the price point. A really good rule of thumb that I like to tell people is the higher the price, the more sales process needs to be involved. So I can't go throw a $3,000 course on the same funnel and expect sales. It's not going to work. It's kind of easy to impulsively spend $200. I'm sure everybody in here has done it at some point, right? Like my wife walks around Target and spends like $300 every day. I swear to God, it's ridiculous. It's easy to do that, but you don't just stroll around spending 4 or 5K, right? You don't do that. It's not something that happens normally. So you need a bigger sales process. So you need to actually talk to a human at that point, which is where you'll start seeing call schedule funnels, where instead of buying something right away, you talk to their team instead. They'll go over the phone. It's a little bit more comfortable of a buying process. But here are some different types of strategies you can use as well. So when it's kind of just hitting the 4-figure mark, right? Like it's anywhere from 900 to 15, we like to use the mini webinar style funnel. So it would go from an ad to a funnel where we have a 5 to 20 minute video of the actual client going over what you're even buying, what the course is about. Maybe they're doing a free lesson for you, so you can kind of get a sneak peek into the course or the training you're going to go to. And then from there, what you can do is you can set it up to, like, let's say they watch 50% of your video. Let's say the video is 20 minutes long. If they get to the 10-minute mark, then a button pops up that takes them to the sales page. So you're qualifying someone based on the time they're willing to invest, because a lot of people have very short attention spans. I think like the average attention span nowadays is 2 seconds. So if someone's staying for 10 minutes of your video, they're interested in what you're teaching. So it's a really good way to actually qualify someone based on the time involvement that they have. So then after they go here, then they'll move on to the enrollment and purchase or schedule a talk with your team. Another way to do this is booked call funnels or application funnels. These are starting to get towards the lead section for you guys running to get more people for your services. The bottom half of these are going to be where it's at. So booked call funnels or application funnels. So a booked call is they're going onto the page, and instead of buying, they're scheduling a call with you to talk to your team. Applications are they're actually submitting an application with custom questions you ask them, like how much are you looking to spend? When are you looking to get started? When do you want your service done by? Stuff like that. So you're getting custom questions, and then they submit that to you. You can look through it and tell yourself like, yeah, this person's qualified. I think they could be a good prospect. Or you can say, no, they're clearly not qualified. They're trying to spend $5 to get microblading done. So it's not a good fit. So then you can kind of disqualify someone. Now, lead forms and messenger campaigns. These are probably the most popular that you guys have all seen. I'm sure you've seen my ads running with these type of stuff. So lead forms they don't actually leave Facebook. It's all done right here on Facebook. As soon as they click learn more, a custom form pops over. You can collect their name, email, phone number, which you should definitely be doing after the whole iOS update ordeal that's been going on, because it helps you take sales outside of Facebook where it's harder to get conversions. Now, messenger campaigns is sending them directly to your messenger, where you can start a conversation automatically with chatbots, all sorts of stuff. But I'm not going to dive too much into this because that's a lot to go over, and I want to make this somewhat fast. But we're going to go over kind of a month by month really quick of the results and kind of how we got here. So month one, the first month's revenue was $23,000. We did not have any retargeting because we had to build up the audience for her new pixel that we created. We were also price testing to find out what the market values the course at, as well as we started with $50 a day in ad spend. I believe it was Dawn asked me what kind of like I think we were talking about the daily ad spend earlier today. So what we recommend is try not to go below 30. And there's a reason I say this. Everybody has to understand Facebook is an artificial intelligence and it has algorithms. You have to understand that data makes that stuff work. And in real life, like we're in right now, money equals data inside of Facebook and Instagram advertising. You can't spend $5 a day, $10 a day, and then expect to make 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. It's not realistic. It doesn't work that way. You have to understand you have to spend in order to make some, but you have to do it responsibly, right? So we were spending $50 a day and then we made 23,000. So Dawn, kind of like your example, if you're spending 10 a day, you've made 0 over a month, there's a problem there, right? That something's not right. There's something in that process that's not happening correctly. Could be your offer, could be the pricing. There's all sorts of things that could go wrong. But for a general idea, we tell people to start at $30 a day if you can. Not everybody can, and that's totally cool. I would never drop below 10. I just wouldn't expect any sort of result if you're doing anything under 10 a day. But that's just myself. We like to ideally start nowadays at $60 to $100 a day if you're doing like a high level launching a course type of campaign, but it totally differs for whatever you're trying to do. Now, month 2. The second month revenue was 49,000, almost 50,000. So there was a massive jump in sales for a couple of reasons. We started scaling the budget about 20% every other day, as long as the ROAS remained high. A ROAS means return on ad spend. So if we spent $3, we would get 9, right? So, or if you spent $1, you'd make 5. So it's depending on that number. So as long as we're over 2, as long as every dollar she spent, she made 2, we would scale up 20%. She was averaging around 3 to 4 ROAS. So if she spent $1, she was making 3 to 4 in return, which is awesome. That's a really good ROAS. So what we would do is if we saw that, if it was 20% or higher, we'd move it up 20%. After that, we let it run for 3 to 4 days. This is a little side note for you guys. Don't ever change your ads. Let them run for 3 days minimum. You have to let Facebook try to optimize your ads. Even if you're not getting leads, even if you're not getting sales, don't run ads just solely to get data, but make sure you're giving it enough time to learn. They have what's called a learning phase. And if you never let it leave the learning phase, it will never find your audience. So every edit you make, let it run for 3 days minimum, then make your edits again after that. So what we would do is we'd scale her budget 20%. We'd watch that ROAS. If it was 2 or higher, we'd scale it another 20%. If it was 2 or higher, scale it another. If you don't hit a 2 ROAS, scale it back down to what you previously had. Let it run for 2 days, then scale it back up. That normally fixes that problem. We also retargeted audiences. So our retargeting audiences were big enough at this point to start running retargeting ads, which brings in massively cheaper sales and leads. So what we started doing is we retargeted everybody who watched different percentages of the videos. We also retargeted people who clicked on the ad at different points. You can even go as far as to how long they spent on your actual page, if you know how to set that up correctly. So that's why month 2 is also normally very much bigger than month 1 in sales or leads, because you can start retargeting people from month number 1 and they have to build up in order for you to run ads to them. So this is also going to be pretty relevant for you guys. So month 3 was 34,000. So this month, the creatives we were using started to reach exhaustion and the cost per sale was rising. So let's say we were averaging a $40 cost per sale. It started to go to 50, then 55. And something we saw was there's a metric called CTR on Facebook, and it means how many people what percent of people are clicking on your ad versus seeing it. You want to aim, what's really good and what our benchmark is there's 2 different CTRs. One is called CTR all. That's referring to your creative, like how well your actual photo or video is actually performing. So what we would do is we saw her start at 4.3 and it started coming down to 4, then 3.8, then 3.2. And then eventually she went below 3 and sales started getting more expensive, which is very normal. You have what's called a life cycle with your creatives and you have to watch it because you have to switch them out. If you don't, you will never progress in your ad campaign. So we noticed that was happening and her cost was getting bigger. But so as we started the cycle in new creatives, the cost per purchase was coming down again. So it was getting cheaper to get purchases. And that's when we launched that Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale. So out of the 34,000, 13,000 came from 1 week of sales during that one period. So that's going to kind of wrap it up. If you guys do have any questions, go ahead and ask them now. Don't do it in the Facebook chat that you have no access to. Ask down below. And then also we will be making the slides available for you guys. If you want to go back through this, go at your own pace, kind of look around again, you will have access to that. But I will stop sharing my screen and that should wrap it up.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
In your presentation, you talked about price testing. I wondered if you could explain a little bit more about that. Is price testing really just like checking your competitors to see how much they're charging? Um, what exactly is that?
Yeah, so I'll actually go through how we price tested with her because it's pretty relevant. So she launched her course when it was smaller at $99. We were getting very easy sales. It was like just super easy. It wasn't struggling at all. So we were like, okay, let's bump up the price a little bit to see if we can still get consistent sales. So we went from 99 to 147. Still got consistent sales. Cost per purchase didn't drop much. So we're like, okay, this is still really good. We went up to 199. Still getting consistent sales. Then we tried to go to 247. So we bumped it up another 50 and sales declined very quickly. So it's not just testing your competitors because there's different offers. They could be doing something different that you're not. But what it does mean is that the market didn't value whatever offer we were offering at the price of 250. They didn't think it was worth that. So we scaled it back down to 199, and that was kind of our sweet spot. So what I'd recommend for anybody starting out, whether this is courses, if you're doing a new service, your own pricing, start at a price. If you're getting consistent clients, no one's complaining about the price, bump it up. See if that continues, bump it up again. Eventually, you will hit a point where it's like, okay, this is too much. Nobody wants to pay this anymore. Now I'm starting to struggle. Go back down. That's normally your sweet spot. But something also to note is as you build credibility and get more testimonials and more reviews, you should price test again. Because at some point, your time should become more valuable and this should flip. So your time is going to become more valuable, even if you only get, like, I'd much rather see one person do their brows for $800 than see 8 people at 100, right? So even if you're only signing one person every 2 days at 800, that's a better goal to strive for than signing 30 people at like $50, right? So just make sure you're constantly testing after you have sustainability. Did that make sense?
Yes, but also like so when you have the example of, for the 99 and the 147, how much time passed between, your adjustments?
So it's normally it was kind of the same deal as ads.
3 days?
3 to 4 days. Yes. Now that's if you're running ads, because it's way more measurable. If it's more organic, it might take a little bit longer. I would even use up to like a month time frame. So if you have, let's say you see 30 people on average in a month without ads, bump your price up, see if that number changes. If it stays around 30, there's not a big difference, maybe keep it there, maybe go up again. But if you all of a sudden go from 30 to 10 and you're like, well, I just made way less money this month, that probably wasn't the right time to do it. Or maybe you went up a little too much, scale back down, and then see if you can kind of even out your client acquisition again.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Does anybody else have any questions? I know we have Nicole, Dawn, Carrie, Sophia. We have all sorts of people in here. So do you guys have any questions? I want to hear if you guys are running your own ads right now, because this is not just about the presentation we had. This is to answer any questions about ads you have in general.
Nick, I have a question.
Absolutely.
Would these same principles apply to Instagram? I was on Facebook a while ago. I got off of it. I hired a company to do an ad campaign just on Instagram, but I was told that I had to have at least a kind of a fake or placement Facebook account. So they created one for me so they could run the ads on Instagram. Ultimately, I let them go because it wasn't a good job. But do these same principles apply to just having campaigns on Instagram?
So yes, but I wouldn't ever try to run just on Instagram. So Nicole, if you don't know, this is kind of funny. We just went over this. Facebook owns Instagram. They're the same company now. So yeah, essentially, if you want to run ads, it's done through Facebook. Even if you only want to do Instagram, it has to be done through Facebook's Business Manager. Now you can select whether you want only Facebook or only Instagram running. But what I would recommend, and we've had clients ask us that before, and later down the road, they're really glad they didn't do that, because what ends up happening is we will run a test for the first week with both platforms, and you'd be shocked. I think 95% of the time, Facebook always beats Instagram. It's so vastly different, and it doesn't make much sense because, like, you think microblading, you think like photos, videos, those would do better on Instagram. And I always would think the same as well. But this is why I said, don't ever make assumptions. Let data tell you what's going on. Run them on both. And then you have the ability on Facebook to see where your sales or leads are coming from. You can see exactly on Facebook, like if it was stories, if it was the feed, if it was like marketplace. So that's when I would start narrowing in. But that is true. You do have to have some sort of Facebook account, but you don't have to run ads to it necessarily.
Right. I'm just trying to minimize how much I'm monitoring. I'm not a social media pro by any means. I'm lacking severely in that department. So I'm just trying to minimize how much I have to manage.
For sure.
So are you, in a nutshell, saying, if I had to choose one, Facebook would be the one to go with?
I would say both. I wouldn't give you one or the other because, again, I don't know. You have to test. So what I would recommend is try running it on both for a week. See what kind of happens, see where those results are coming from. If they don't have the ability to tell you whether it was Facebook or Instagram, you should fire them regardless, because that is wildly inaccurate.
Yeah.
They're not tracking your results properly. So I would definitely try to run both. How much are you spending a day on your campaign, Nicole? Or how much were you?
The last campaign, it was 300 for the month. So, what's that? That's about $10 a day, I guess.
$10 a day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I just did it as a test, just to kind of see, what would happen, but I wasn't happy with the results.
Yeah. I will backtrack really quick. So I know in the presentation, I said, let it run for a minimum of 3 days. That's normally assuming you're spending around 30 a day. If you are spending $10, $20 a day, I would let it run for almost a full week, like 5 to 6 business days, throughout the week, just because it takes a little bit longer to get a little bit more data since you're spending less. But the way it works, Nicole, is you have something called placements on your ad campaigns. And if you select automatic placements, Facebook's going to run your ads on all of them and kind of give a test of which one got the best engagement. And then it'll start spending your money on the best ones. So I would let it run for 5 to 6 days and then kind of make that decision.
Well, it ran for several weeks and the reach was good, but there was literally no engagement. I didn't get a single client out of the deal. So
yeah, that I hate hearing those stories because I hear them a lot from people. And that's always tough. It's annoying because you're spending money, you're expecting to receive it and you don't.
Right. And if I had at least gotten one, I could justify it,
Right. Yeah. And that's why it's important to have someone in your business that does, they manage this on a day-to-day basis. Because it's like me, if I try to walk into a shop and microblade someone's eyebrows, it's going to be a disaster. Someone's going to be very upset. So it's very tough. It's you can't manage everything. And especially marketing, it's so complex. And I don't care how simple other marketing companies say it is. It's not simple at all. After everything we just went through today, you can see there's a lot that goes into it. And I skipped a lot of it too. So there's, it's a lot of details. There's a lot of stuff out there, but for all of you out there, if you go to Facebook, they give you a free Facebook course. It's called Facebook Blueprint, and it walks through everything, literally everything you could possibly know about Facebook ads. Now I will tell you this, we have VIP concierges that work at Facebook that contact me daily, and sorry, Facebook, but if they're somehow listening to this, they suck. They are so bad. They do not know what is going on in their own business. It is wildly inaccurate. They'll tell me to do something. It's funny because if you go to a Facebook group of people that do ad buying for a living, everybody hates Facebook reps. And they'll reach out to you hey, let's talk about your business. I have a strategy for you. And I don't know one person that it actually worked for. I literally don't. Which is why we try to make free groups and stuff where we show you strategies that do work. And we try to do stuff like this where we can help you guys for free, because Facebook Blueprint will give you the idea of Facebook ads. It'll teach you all about it. But as far as strategy goes, then it kind of leaves you on your own to go out and try to build your own stuff. So I would recommend everybody go through that though. Facebook Blueprint probably get you a massive step ahead of the competition, because I don't know many PMU artists that even know that it's available. And I don't think marketing companies want to tell you about it, but I will. So go do that. You get certified too. So you'll get certified by Facebook in Facebook ads. So that's also very helpful.
Okay. So that would be a good starting point for, like myself, who I can't wrap my head around how social media works. So I need, a starting point.
Yeah. There's, that's a really good resource for you. We have a free group as well that I'm not going to just name drop because I don't want Leslie yelling at me or Melody. So, if they're okay with it, I'll give them that to share with you guys later on. But
sure, yeah, we're okay.
Great.
What's that, Melody? Oh, okay. I'll pull it up later on, but just so you guys don't join the wrong ones. But yeah, I think we just released all sorts of free content in there. We also have it so where you guys can literally ask us whatever you want, and we'll make Loom videos for you, walking you through stuff. We try to make it super valuable. So that's a really cool goal of ours. Let me see if I can just share this really quick. So since this is going to be played back, this is the group. It's called Microblading and PMU Marketing Tips and Tricks. Go ahead and join that if you guys want, completely free. You can just go through here. We have a guide section where we walk through, like, there's 17 videos in this one. There's a ton in this one. So there's all sorts of free content in there for you guys. You can just go, like, spend a weekend consuming it. Just do whatever you want to do, but that's going to be super helpful as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, do you find, depending upon where we are located in the country, that there's a difference with our marketing in Facebook?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is another thing that a lot of marketing companies will just like, they'll just try to take your money and they won't tell you. We won't take on people that are in too small of a place because it's just irresponsible of us. When you run your ads, your goal should be, if you're doing local lead generation, so you're trying to get clients in, your ads reach, like it'll tell you a potential reach, should be no less than 6 figures. Try your absolute best to hit a minimum of 100,000 people with your ads. If you're under that, you're going to have a super difficult time, like, getting out there, getting a lot of clients from paid ads. And that's just what it comes down to. I don't care what other people say. I don't care what other marketers say. They can argue with me all day. It doesn't work well if you have too small of an area, because there's just so much data you can use. It's very limited, but do your best to aim for 6 figures. You can even run really broad campaigns. Facebook does a good job at finding who needs to see your ad. So yes, it does matter, Carrie.
Okay, so like what I have done is used, the demographic area and then like the age group. So that's probably not necessarily the best way for me to be doing it.
It could be, absolutely. It totally depends on your potential reach, right? And maybe I can even get a little more in depth with this and pull one up for you guys. But so Carrie, for you, where do you live?
I live in West Bend, Wisconsin.
Oh, I'm in Minnesota. We're actually pretty close. When COVID was going on, you guys had gyms open and I was over there every single day. I would drive over to Wisconsin because you guys had gyms open. I don't know why we didn't, but awesome. Let's look this up then. Let's make this more interactive. As long as I have time to do this. Leslie, Melanie, am I good to go? Okay, cool. This will be a little bit valuable for you guys as well. Let me get off my clients ad accounts. Okay. So for you, what I would recommend is don't use any of this crap. Don't ever touch these. I would recommend doing conversion, lead generation, or messaging. For this example, we're going to do conversion. For you guys that don't know what this screen is too, this is very important. I'm going to go over this in a second as well. So we're going to go to our ad set. You guys need to start getting into this too. There's a lot of details I didn't talk about today that I wish I had time to, because it's very important, but you have to like set up stuff with domains in Facebook now after the updates, and you'll see this stuff here. Like, it's giving me a warning. I don't use this ad account, so that's why it's not set up here. But so let's do this. Where is location? This is kind of tough on a smaller screen. Here we go. United States. Let's set this up. And you said West Bend?
Correct.
Okay.
Two words.
Oh, it's 2. Okay.
Yep.
Stop, Facebook. Jeez. Here we go. All right, let's see how big your population is to start off with. That's awesome. Now let's narrow it down a little bit. So, little hack for you guys. I will tell you to test this yourselves, but after running, if not thousands of ad campaigns, we do know in the PMU space, this age group is probably your best bet. 24 to 55. Everything above 55 normally drops off very drastically. Everything below 24 drops off very drastically for people for lead generation specifically. So now you're on to 358. Also, side note, if it's up here, I don't actually see it, so I'm not going to worry about it just yet. Okay, cool. Another little side note, guys, there's a little drop down here that a lot of people miss. It's people living in or recently living in this location. Make sure to change this because we don't want to hit people that moved out of the state and no longer live there. So change it to people living in this location. Now let's do microblading. All right. So just off that alone, oh, this is pretty great. You have a very big audience. I would be totally fine with this. You have a very big radius. If you needed to, you can increase this up to 100 or 50 miles. So you'll get an even bigger radius. Now, I do want to say, because I just missed it, it did pop up. You guys will see a little warning. I think this was 25 to start. Don't ever listen to this. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen on any platform in my life. It is so inaccurate. It is wildly wrong. Don't listen to this stuff. It tells me this and we'll literally make $7,000 in a day for a client. It's so inaccurate. So don't worry about this. Ignore it. The only thing I would worry about is this little slider here. You want it in the green. You don't want it too broad. You don't want it too narrow either, unless it's a custom audience, but ignore this crap. Even if it tells you right here, 0 conversions, don't worry about it. You should just pay attention to your reach, how many people it thinks you're going to reach today. But yeah, you should be fine. If you're reaching this many people, you're doing fine. If this is below 100,000, that's already a little concerned, like, especially if you're close to 40 or 50, I don't even think running ads would be your best bet. What I would recommend is for everybody in here and everybody watching this in the future, install your Facebook pixels on all of your websites. Because something you can do, even in a small city, small town, is you can run ads to anybody that's organically hit your sites, your social medias, all sorts of stuff. And that is a massive way to get a lot of clients very quickly, is by hitting people who exist and already are on your social media. So that's one big recommendation. Did that answer your question, Carrie? Do you have another question?
That answered my question, but what did you just say though, the last thing about the people who have already hit on your site or
that's getting a little more in depth. You'd have to come over to this tab. You come to audiences. After it loads, whenever I'm screen sharing, it takes forever. So you can create custom audiences here. And one of them is you can come onto Facebook page. You click next, and then you can change exactly what you're looking for. So anyone who visited your page, so Facebook has automatically tracked everybody who's visited your page as long as it existed. You can target people who currently like your page. You can do everyone who's engaged with your page, anyone who visited your page. You can do also anyone who's engaged with your ads or watched your ads. So these are some very, very powerful audiences you can use to get a successful launch. There's one very popular PMU artist, marketer that I'm not going to name, but I know for a fact he likes to do this a lot. And so do we. It's just a very good tactic to use. So you can hit people who already are in your target space. You can use certain days, like how long you want to go. And then after you create it, it'll pop up here. And then you can actually select those in your ads manager to run ads to those people.
Great. Thank you.
Absolutely. How are we doing on time? Are we still okay? Does anybody else have any questions?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
I was wondering, we have some members who are very hands-on and want to keep things in-house. We have some members who like to hire out services. So for them to make a decision as to whether they're going to keep ad campaigns in-house or hire out, what would you say the average time commitment is, like per week, perhaps?
Okay. That's a good question. I can't give you an exact number because I actually, we're an ad agency and I hired someone to do my ads. But I brought them in-house. I trained them myself and now we have a team that does it. So it totally depends on what your goals are. And this is where it gets a little bit deeper and kind of like the business structure of like what you want in your life. So if you are okay with spending a lot of time learning, and I promise you, like, it took me 2 years as well as 6 figures of my own money to finally figure out like what works on Facebook down to a T and scale other people's campaigns. So that's like a time commitment idea for you. If you want to master ads where you can make 6 figures in 3 months using ads, it takes a lot of commitment, not just time, but a lot of money as well. Because like I said earlier, money equals data, and you have to get data in order to scale ads successfully. if you want to do it in-house, find an effective training that will help you kind of learn and do like I won't like pitch anything here, but we have like, so there's a program we do where we give you a course that we teach how to run your own ads. And then every Monday we have live calls where we teach them. That was kind of the program I was talking about earlier where my students were asking me stuff. So find something like that. Doesn't have to be me, just find something like that. Another thing is just make sure you understand metrics, right? So if you want to hire someone else, go out of your way, be a responsible business owner and learn at least to understand what metrics look like. So that way, like you're not getting fooled by a company. If they're like, hey, ads are doing good, you can go and look at your own stats and be like, no, they're not. What are you talking about? What's wrong with this? And you know what you're looking for. So if you want a smaller time commitment, hire out. And I almost always recommend trying to find someone else to do it, because as a business owner, it's hard to scale your business to 6 figures a month, let's say, if you are trying to do everything. It's just impossible. It's not realistic. Every big company I know and I personally work with, or like friends who own 6-figure a month agencies, everyone hires people to do their own ads, even though they're ad agencies. Everyone hires people to come train them, even though they're doing well. So outsourcing is very important, but also bringing people in-house, teaching them kind of helps you a little bit because you have more control over it. So it does depend on your goals a little bit. Oh, Dawn, what is the full name of your marketing company? Include contact info. Is that okay if I drop that in? Okay, cool. So we really could not care less about our website, and so many people are going to be upset about that. So I'm not going to drop our website, but feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook. That is the name of it. And then contact info. I'll give you my Instagram at here. So it's Nick Goldberg. So that is the name of our company, and that is my ad on Instagram. Then you can also just find me on Facebook at Nicholas Goldberg. You can also join that free group. We're in there all the time. We're never not active in there. So if you ever need something, you can contact us in there as well. Leslie, that was you that asked that question, I think, about the hiring. And so did that answer your question? Because I tend to ramble a little bit. So I want to make sure I answered it.
No, that was wonderful. And if you want to share with everyone who's watching the recording and can't see the chat, the name of your company and your company offers, you're welcome to do so.
Awesome. So the name of our company is Validus Marketing. It's VALIDUS, and then the word marketing. What we do and kind of what we offer. So we have a couple different things that we offer. So we are a permanent makeup marketing company only. Been doing it for years now. We've spent over 7 figures in the space. We have a couple different offers, and this is because not everyone's ready to run a full-scale ad campaign. So we have a done for you offer where we give you a very in-depth course, and we are constantly updating it. I'm not going to give a price because it's going to probably change by the time people listen back to this, because it's already gone up twice. Just because we try to make it very valuable, but we go over all sorts of stuff from ads, even to building your own funnels, sales campaigns, landing pages, all sorts of stuff. So you go through that. And then every Monday we have a private group where, very similar to this actually, where we'll get on a call every Monday and we'll go over, number one, I'll teach a lesson. And then number two, we go into Q&A about update or keeping up to date with current clients or current members, like ads they're running. They'll do Q&As with us so we can take a look, kind of dissect what's going on in their ad campaigns, tell them what to change. And if you don't have time to learn all that, because it is a lot to do on your own, I will admit, we also do done for you services for lead generation, getting you clients for your services, as well as during COVID, we spent a very large amount of money on courses and trainings, because that was the only thing we could do for the space at the time. Because a lot of people couldn't see people in person. So we kind of became a course marketing company. We took a lot of people's courses from launch to 6 figures. So that's something else we work on. We do in-person training as well for marketing too.
Great. Thank you so much. This was so educational. I came away with a whole 2 pages of notes to review, and I'm sure I'll be sending you a lot of messages to ask you my questions. But thank you so much to everyone who attended today. Thank you so much to Nick. And yeah, I hope that we will be able to collaborate again with you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, guys. I hope everybody got a lot of value out of this, and I will see you all later.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye. What's up, guys? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down below in the comments. Or if you'd like us to run your ads for you, we have a link in the description to schedule a free one-on-one call with our team to see if you qualify. That's it for today, guys. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next one.